The NBC special that debuted in 1985 makes a return to WWE in 2024. Saturday night's main event is here, ladies and gentlemen, with 5 matches being announced for this show. Starting with the main event of the show, which will be Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the Undisputed WWE Championship. We've got Gunther defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor and Damian Priest. We have the Women's World Championship on the line with Liv Morgan going against Io Sky. We have got Sami Zayn in a one-on-one encounter with Drew McInytre. And last but not least, at the time of recording, 4 women remain who will become the first ever Women's United States Champion. We'll be going through who we think will win the semi-finals matches on SmackDown between Bayley and Chelsea Green and Michin and Tiffany Stratton, and then who we think will be winning the final. NXT is in the hot seat with me. It's good to have you back, my friend, once again for one of these prediction videos. I'm going to start off by asking what your excitement levels are for Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, quietly reserved. I mean, there is some stuff on here that could be some absolute killer wrestling, and obviously crowning a brand new women's mid-card champion is obviously in a very exciting time. Like, fingers crossed on, Chelsea Green for me, but we'll get more into that when we talk about it.
So I'm looking forward to diving in as well and getting your thoughts of how you think it's going to play out. Obviously, we both said we want Chelsea Green to win the championship. I think that's certainly the popular decision going into this, but will she be the one that we actually predict? You have to stick around and wait for that. If I had to give you a score out of 10, what would be the score out of 10 for this one?
Oh, I'm going to say 7.5. I think I'm quietly reserved. There should be some really good stuff on the show.
Yeah, I think there's some really good matches that have been lined up for the show. I'm a bit of a nostalgia person. Saturday night's main event was, we've done a rewind of it. It's coming out later this week of the first one I ever watched from 1992. So we get to go back and have the nostalgia feels and also relive it in 2024. And yeah, I mean, for me, like you say, we've got some great matches lined up for this one. Jesse Ventura is going to be on commentary as well. He was part of the first one also. I think that's brilliant. I can't wait to hear Jesse Ventura on commentary once again in 2024, calling the action. But yeah, excitement levels for me. I'm going to say an 8. I'm looking forward to this.
I would like to know if he's going to start banging on about his conspiracy theories, because I've got a feeling he's going to be, because he's so old now, I've got a feeling he's going to be delusional as anything, and he's going to start even trying to get himself rerunning for governor again. Man, I can't wait for Jesse being on there.
Will he go into business for himself is the big question going into things. But do you think Jesse Ventura will be for the whole show, or do you reckon it'll just be for like one match of the show?
I'd like to think the whole show, and it'll be a 3-man table. Like, I imagine it's probably going to be Graves, Cole, and Jesse, but I imagine it would probably just be maybe it would just be like the main event, or like he'll be on a specific match, maybe like Sami versus Drew, something like that.
We'll have to see how it's going to play out. I have a feeling it could be for a match, but let's see if it'll be for the whole thing. I would not be against the whole thing. And like I say, a 3-man booth, I think would work quite well for this one. Match you're most looking forward to?
Women's US Championship match, because, it's who I want to win it. I'm most excited for, but otherwise I'd say Cody, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the prestige, to have the opportunity of the first ever on this show, for the women's mid-card championship, the United States Championship. Look, to be honest, I think that it's been something that's been wanted for a long time by many. I think the women have worked really hard for it. I think it's great that we're getting it. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I think that is going to take the most excited part. But obviously, Cody versus KO is probably going to be the biggest talking point of this video. So, no surprises. It's the main event of the video. You have to stick around to the finish. Of course, though, if you are watching this, you can also skip ahead in the chapters feature below, but we recommend you stick around and check out everything as we kick things off. We'll kick off big time with the World Heavyweight Championship on the line. The Ring General Gunther going against Finn Balor, and added on Monday Night Raw, Damian Priest. Initially, this was going to be a singles match. Now it's become a triple threat match. Damian Priest has made the return. Adam Pearce has made him a part of the match. Ultimately, this is Gunther's request as well. Gunther obviously wanted to beat Priest clean at Survivor Series to prove he could do it. it. His character was going through a bit of a spiral after the loss to Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel, feeling maybe he couldn't get the job done. He wanted to feel he could do that, but Finn Balor took it away from him. Also took the moment away at SummerSlam as well when he won the title, because Balor has had this thing going on with Priest. It kind of only makes sense, I guess, that Priest has got involved here and tried to take out Balor. And obviously, at this point, it's led to the triple threat. Initially, when it was one-on-one, Gunther versus Balor, I thought we'd be talking about this for about 30 seconds because there was no way that Gunther was dropping the title. But now we have the triple threat match, which I thought we was going to evolve into. I kind of like we're not wasting time. We're just getting into it. And I think this match becomes a lot more exciting for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it does add a small increase on the chances of a different outcome. But yeah, I mean, just in general, like I've been talking about this triple threat for a while now. You even said when we did our Q&A last night that, you know, the idea of the triple threat between these three sounds more intriguing, and surprising enough, we get it a hell of a lot earlier than I thought we was going to get it. I was thinking like Rumble time, but yeah, I mean, I think more than anything, this is a test for Gunther for the evolvement of his character, because if he can, beat these two, it's going to cement him. It's going to just reaffirm his mental thinking and how he is as a champion. Obviously, like you said, since he lost to Cody, he's been a down in the dumps, and kind of like, bear in mind, this guy's like a 666 stage IC run champion. One loss to Cody, and for some reason his brain seems to have just completely gone against him. But yeah, I mean, I think for him, the important thing with Gunther is if he wins this, it will just reaffirm him. It will make him a believer in himself again, I suppose, which is the character arc they're trying to go with. In terms of Balor and Priest, I mean, they're both going to be the biggest heel between each other. Unfortunately, with WrestleMania coming, I don't know. Like, I imagine their odds are very slim out of picking up this title, because I think that title is just bound for something else. So I don't know. But then again, never say never. I mean, obviously on Raw last night, Gunther made a big deal out of Balor being a Universal Champion for one day, and making the fact that he's not on Gunther's level. Hey, a Finn Balor win here could be massive for it, man.
It would be massive. Obviously, Finn Balor has not had the opportunity to be at the top of the card since, obviously, the time he was the first ever Universal Champion. And, of course, he held that title for a day thanks to injuries. Never quite got there since. It's great to see he's back in the top picture, because he's someone that I feel like has never really had his opportunity to shine. But at the same time, I feel when he's had opportunities in the past, maybe due to someone previously booking him, it doesn't always feel so believable anymore when he's in this position. Like you say, I feel like it's like Balor and Priest, they're destined to continue their feud. They're probably going to cancel each other out. This is going to reaffirm Gunther and his character development that he's got going on. Have you been a fan of Gunther doubting himself over the past sort of few weeks?
No. This guy has been longest reigning UK champion, longest reigning IC champion. He suffers one loss to Cody Rhodes, and apparently, like, this guy lost to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania for that IC title, and yet apparently one loss to Cody Rhodes is all it takes for him to lose focus on who he is. And it's not worked for me. I'm hoping that that whole story arc just ends this weekend and we go back to normal Gunther dominating.
I hope so as well. It's not been my favourite storyline. The only thing I would say in comparison to Sami Zayn, obviously when he dropped the IC title, he was missing for a few weeks after WrestleMania, so it's kind of like almost that time away was able to give him a shield, so when he came back he could refocus on what he'd do going forward. But it feels like because he's still World Heavyweight Champion, he hasn't had time to take time off, therefore he's not really been able to hide his insecurities, which are why it's been exposed on camera. But it's not been the storyline for me either, and I do hope that he comes back to the dominance that he's had previously after he picks up a win in this match.
Yeah, I think the other thing with Sami is the whole story with Sami was that he underestimated Sami Zayn, and that was like it was his ego that played into him losing that title, I suppose, as well. But yeah, just like I said, just the one loss to Cody Rhodes, and it's like this guy is on par with you on standing in the company. So why you suddenly feel like if this had been, for instance, I don't know. I'm trying to think. If this had been Akira Tozawa, then sure, maybe you've got a problem, Gunther. But you know what I mean? Cody Rhodes, biggest name, biggest star in the company. I don't know why they've decided to go with this.
No, I guess not. I guess it's also maybe that idea of high pressure situation. When it was the IC title, it was the mid card. There was a place to move up in the show. If he now is the world champion, if he screws up, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, where do we go from here? Like maybe we don't get back to that position once again. You've only got to look with Ethan Page in NXT, for example, with the self date going through him at the moment. But this storyline only works for me if Gunther is going to be a long reign world champion. I'm talking like a couple of years, because of the fact then it kind of makes sense. He's still getting his feet under the table as a world champion, as established main eventer moving forward in WWE. However, I'm not even convinced he's walking into WrestleMania as the world champion right now, which is why another reason this storyline isn't quite working for me. But final thoughts, Gunther walking away as the victor. Is that your same prediction as well?
Yes, like I think, like you said a little while ago, Priest and Balor cancelled themselves out, and I've said as well, I think that this title is destined for two other gentlemen to fight for at WrestleMania. I mean, we even said on the Q&A that we did last night, someone suggested a Goldberg match, and like, hey, Gunther versus Goldberg at WrestleMania kind of seems like a fitting match for Gunther to have. A Hall of Famer who is renowned for, destroying people. I think that's probably a good shout for what's going to be at WrestleMania for him.
Absolutely, and perhaps then it maybe is not suitable to have a World Heavyweight Championship in his possession. And as for Priest and Balor, perhaps maybe we could have a Priest versus a Demon at WrestleMania to close that rivalry off once and for all. But we'll move on in the meantime. We'll go on to the second match that we're going to discuss, which will be for the Women's World Championship on the line. Liv Morgan, the champion, going to be defending against Io Sky. Low-key really looking forward to this match from a ring quality standpoint. Io, I think, is a fantastic in-ring wrestler. I do think that Liv Morgan has improved and has established herself as a world champion in 2024. Character work in particular has been quite good. But Io Sky won a battle royal after Crown Jewel, but it was the Raw afterwards. She's had to wait about 6-7 weeks to get this championship opportunity. It's been a long time coming. However, you'd think War Games would have been a good place for Io to have established herself further as the one that could be taking this title from Liv Morgan, but instead Liv Morgan was pinned by one Rhea Ripley inside the War Games structure. Obviously, we now look at Monday Night Raw this past week. Rhea has now gone through Raquel Rodriguez as well in an Anything Goes match. Kind of makes me feel that Io Sky is not winning the title here, and we are destined to go for Rhea versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship one more time. Would you agree?
Yeah, again, but as much as I'd love to see Io win this, I think you're right. Royal Rumble looks set to probably be that destination for that match. Again, WrestleMania is round the corner, and depending on what they want to do, I mean, we didn't actually mention this in the previous match either, but obviously the implosion of the Judgment Day looks to be imminent on the horizon as well. And I think if Liv is I think if that's going to happen, you kind of have to have Liv lose this world title, but I don't think Io's the one to do it. I'm going to go with a Liv Morgan retain.
I think it's a very good point you mentioned with the Judgment Day. Like you said, that breakup is because the tension has been rising for quite a few weeks now, and like you say, it's not the place here.
Last night as well.
Massive sarcasm, because when we just go back to that first match quickly, Finn Balor is not winning the world title here, and I think just as an extra prediction on top, I think he's losing the tag titles next week on Raw to the War Raiders as well. So I think that the cracks are really going to start appearing in that group, and I wouldn't be surprised if the breakup leads to a match, and perhaps even a breakup in form of the new WWE transfer window that has been opened. It'll be interesting to see what happens when we see a number of superstars that are talking backstage. But Liv Morgan's the final prediction from us there. We think she'll drop that title at a later date. But that means we move on nicely to Sami Zayn versus Drew McInytre in a one-on-one encounter. Of course, Sami Zayn recently has rejoined the OG bloodline. Drew McInytre has returned just a week ago on Raw after, of course, losing the Bad Blood in the Hell in a Cell match against CM Punk. He needed time to reflect. He needed time to be with his family. His family needed him, but he felt the need to come back when he turned on Survivor Series and saw that CM Punk and Roman Reigns were teamed together. Obviously, he says he can't change the past, but he can change the present and the future. But he understood why CM Punk actually teamed with Roman Reigns, so that's at least something in it for him. However, they didn't quite understand it when it came to Jimmy, Jay, and Sami, because they broke away once, but they've just put their fingers in the air and they've just gone crawling back to Roman Reigns. In one way, though, even though we took out Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw, Jimmy and Jay, I suppose they're family. Sami Zayn, though, he isn't family. So, yeah, there seems to be something that's been building here. The Claymore was done to close the opening segment, the Raw after Survivor Series. So, yeah, we've got a match that's been building here for these two. But one thing we go into, which I want to quickly discuss with you, just to add a bit of spice to this one, because I think the prediction may not take so long. Fanfare and fan fiction online has suggested that there are 3 superstars in particular who are quite bitter with the bloodline right now and bitter with people that are aligning themselves with Roman Reigns. Those 3 superstars are Drew McIntyre, as you can see here with the match we have with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, who's got a problem with Cody Rhodes, which we'll go on to a bit later on, and Seth freaking Rollins, who refused to team with Roman Reigns in War Games Survivor Series, but has an issue with CM Punk and has for a long time, but it's just reignited the fire, seeing him go into War Games as well. And they even had a problem with Sami Zayn teaming with CM Punk. Is there just a slight possibility, teeny tiny possibility, that we could get perhaps a super faction that could build of a group that wants to take down the bloodline that isn't bloodline related?
I mean, I like the sound of it. My only problem is I don't think that really comes into fruition until after Mania, because I think you have to get Punk versus Seth out of the way first. I mean, if you initially want to put KO and Drew together, dude, I'm all for that. If we get like a little tag team run going with them, because they're on the same wavelength, they'll be in the same place. Like, people that they've previously trusted have now turned on them and all this kind of stuff. And obviously Kevin also said from SmackDown that he's going to deal with Sami Zayn when he gets to it. I think this is a good way to tie them all in together. So I'd be well up for it, but I think you need to wait until after Mania before you add Seth to that equation.
It's interesting because with this WWE transfer window that's been opened up, all of a sudden any superstar can move to any show. We've seen people backstage on different shows. We've seen Gunther on SmackDown with Nick Aldis. We've seen Cody on Raw with Adam Pearce. So we know big moves could and perhaps are expected to happen in some way in fruition. So all 6 people, if you count the idea of Roman Reigns, for example, Cody, we've on CM Punk, we could have Kevin Owens, Drew, and Seth, they could all be on the same show this time in a month's time. We don't know how it's all going to play out. This could be a massive shake-up that we're going to get, that's going to happen potentially, but time will tell how it will play along. But the reason I also asked that question is because obviously Seth and Sami have had a match after Survivor Series as well, because that was in relation to CM Punk. And obviously then there was the attack of Jey Uso, which of course Sami initially thought that Seth had been a part of. And of course, during the match he called Seth out. Seth was like, I didn't do it. Obviously we've later learned that Drew was the one who did do it. But then there was a promo thing of like, is all forgiven with Sami and Seth? And like Seth was like, yeah, all's forgiven. I'm glad you're going to leave me to my business with Punk. I guess I should leave you now to deal with your business with Drew McIntyre. And it's just funny enough that Sami said like afterwards, well, the match has been made for the show, for this one Saturday night's main event. And as he goes to leave, he gets attacked by Drew McIntyre. It just makes me wonder, like, if you put all the things together, again, it's fan fiction I've seen this from. So again, it can be 2 + 2 makes 5 here, but some dots connect a little bit. And all of a sudden I'm starting to feel like there could be something here that just could be. And it's just something I think we should keep an eye out for over the next few weeks on WWE TV, especially if this transfer window leads to Drew, Seth, and KO all eventually being on the same show.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, man. I mean, don't get me wrong, that Seth promo followed by that Sami promo, I genuinely was watching and I was like, this is the weirdest promo I've seen in a long time. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, Seth's come out to make a point about Punk. Sami comes out and it's like, okay, this should ultimately end up in a match, but we've had this last week. And then for Seth to just leave, it felt really weird. Like, it just in general. So I think there is something to this, and I think that the idea of this super group between KO, Drew, and Seth is a possibility. New Shield, in Shield 2.0 or something like that. Like, obviously, you have to be a bit more creative than that. I don't know, Celtic architects of whatever, they'll find something. But yeah, man, it's. I think it could be something really exciting. And like I said, if you throw KO and Drew together to start off with, and then you make Seth the third man, brother, I think it would be great.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun if they do play something like that out. But we'll have to wait and see if it will come into fruition. But in the meantime, it is Sami versus Drew on this show. Obviously, Sami seemingly is on his own for the moment. Jey Uso has not been cleared since the attack backstage. Jimmy, we know, is injured. Roman has not really been seen since Survivor Series at this point. So it feels like Sami is on his own here. I have a feeling he's going to suffer an L at this show. I think Drew's picking up the win.
Oh, absolutely, man. Drew needs to start picking up some wins, and Sami's just come off a big win at War Games, so Drew's definitely winning this one.
Feels like it's the right move indeed. Let's move on in the meantime then, and we will get a brand new Women's United States Champion crowned. At the time of recording, we need two semi-final matches to play out to make a final, so let's bring up the graphic on screen. And as you can see here, one semi-final, we got Bayley versus Chelsea Green, and on the other side we have Michin going against Tiffany Stratton. Of course, all four have won triple threat matches to get to this point. So I'm going to keep the graphic on screen just for the moment. And Nick Steve, I'm going to say that we both wanted Chelsea Green to win the Women's United States Championship. For that to happen, for me, looking at this graphic, it would imply that Chelsea Green and Michin would be the final. Alternatively, Bayley and Tiffany Stratton would be the other one. How confident are you that Chelsea Green is going to win the Women's United States Championship now you see those four?
I think the fact that Bayley is tied up in this whole Jade Cargill story, I think that Chelsea is going to... I can honestly, Bayley versus Tiffany Stratton probably is going to be the final one, which sucks because it's about making new champions and giving someone else a shot. Michin and Chelsea Green are two of those people that should be given a shot with the mid-card title. Bayley does not need this title. Tiffany Stratton does not need this title. But Bayley, like I said, Bayley being tied in with this whole Jade Cargill story and Jade Cargill being taken out for War Games, I think Chelsea will scrape through and will pick up a lucky win against Bayley. And I think obviously Tiffany Stratton being involved with the whole Nia Jax thing as well, I think is the reason why Michin should scrape through that one and pick up a win in that one. And we're going to get Michin versus Chelsea Green, and Chelsea Green is going to win this United States Championship. I cannot see any other result aside from Bayley, unfortunately, but I don't think Bayley makes it to the final. Chelsea Green has to win this. Chelsea Green will get such a pop for winning this championship.
She will get a massive pop. My only question would be then, why did it not finish at Survivor Series? Because it was in Vancouver, where she's from, and that would have been the perfect placement to have actually done this title, you know, to unveil it and have a winner.
Because the hometown heroes don't win. So you couldn't have had Chelsea Green winning. So, you know, that's a big no with WWE. You can't have the hometown hero winning in their hometown, so that is why it doesn't happen. But that, dude, I think they needed something to fill out this Saturday night card. Like, I'm not complaining about Drew versus Sami, but this is a match that comes off a 1 week build, and it's kind of like, yeah, okay, it's still a pretty good match, but it's come off a 1 week build. And like I said, with this Saturday night's main event, I think they even didn't they first announce that the final, when they first announced this tournament bracket, that the final would take place at Saturday night's main event. So it was kind of, we already knew where this was going to end, regardless of who was going to be in the final.
That's very true. That's very true. I have one counterpoint, though, on the hometown idea. Of course, SmackDown last week being in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's where Tiffany's from, and she did qualify through in her match. So she did get to there as a hometown favorite. So she's got through to the semi-finals there. But I do agree. Usually the hometown does not work out for such superstars. But I like what you said, because I'm gonna play into it for a second, because I still want Chelsea Green to win this title. You probably got a hint of where you think I'm going to be going here in a minute. But if, for example, we saw Candice help Tiffany win this past week, they have had some friction. If that can cause a bit of problems when it's the Michin match, that's a way Michin can get to the final. And obviously, for sure, Chelsea Green did not win that match to get through by her own purposes. So she flukes her way to the final. That makes perfect sense to me. And like you say, with the Jade Cargill stuff going on, if Bianca decides that she wants to target Bayley, which is what I think should happen, with all the names and stuff going on, Bayley had the most to gain by getting into War Games, and now you're in this position, blah, blah, blah. Bianca and Bayley have never got on either, and with the Damage Control history, you don't blame them as well. So I think that is a perfect storyline beat they can go with. However, I am going to say that I'm going to break away from my early prediction. I don't think Chelsea Green's winning this title. I don't think it's the right time. I think that what they're going to do is they're going to have a Bayley versus Tiffany Stratton final. And I disagree with you. I think Tiffany is, to be a first ever champion, she hasn't won a title. She's won Money in the Bank. And I think to have her name as actually the person that won this title first will be great for her. To have Money in the Bank should not be going for mid-card championships. And I think it also establishes that her time of cashing in Money in the Bank will not be until even after WrestleMania, because she still has until the summer to cash that in. And no one ever has held that briefcase up until the last few moments. And Tiffany could be that person that could do it for the first time.
You could do, but my argument is that Jade Cargill essentially should have been in the Chelsea Green spot. And if Jade Cargill couldn't make the match to get to that semi-final to face Bayley, doesn't that make Bayley the more bigger suspect for taking out Jade Cargill? Bayley took out Jade Cargill to be in so she wouldn't make it to that semi-final match.
Well, actually, Jade was due to be in the Michin match. If we go quickly throw back up here, Lash Legend.
Okay, my apologies.
Oh, well, still. So we could have ended up in the finals, but it never worked out, unfortunately. But Chelsea Green.
That's something. All right, that theory still works out then with the other way. Then this is like, you can obviously tell that Jade Cargill is your biggest threat in this tournament bracket. Take out the biggest threat, proves your chances of winning it. Bayley hasn't got to face Jade Cargill in the final for the United States Championship, so the story still works. I just got my bracket tournament mixed up, but yeah, I can't see. Bayley's probably going to end up winning it. I know it. I can just see it. But like I said, I think that Bayley taking out Jade Cargill seems like the biggest thing. Like, I think that's the story narrative they're going to go with, and that's how Chelsea Green is going to win this United States Championship.
Why your storyline idea doubly works as well is because it took out Bayley from a semi-final position as well. So arguably Bayley has the easier match against Chelsea Green rather than Bianca Belair, who sacrificed her spot to get to that position. So your storyline beat works pretty nicely. So let's see if it does play out that way. So Chelsea Green is the prediction from NXT to beat Michin in the final. I'm going for Tiffany Stratton to be the first ever Women's United States Champion, defeating Bayley in the final. So yeah, it's interesting how it plays out. I will be honest.
I'm glad that we both went completely different finals as well. We probably won't get either of them.
Bayley versus Michin or Chelsea Green versus Tiffany. To be fair, but if we get Chelsea versus Tiffany, I'm happy with the result either way.
Yeah, exactly. You can't argue with that one.
Absolutely not. Let's go then with what the main event of the show will be. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the Undisputed WWE Championship. Two very good friends, now seemingly enemies, because, well, Kevin Owens not happy with Cody. Obviously, Kevin has been brutalized, victimized by the Bloodline for the best part of nearly 4 years, and Cody has been alongside KO during some of that battle, even finishing the story by winning that championship from Roman Reigns in what is arguably one of the most magical WrestleMania finishes of all time. Since then, of course, like we say, KO has had problems with a new bloodline and has had Randy Orton on side and Cody as well. But Cody, in the meantime, to take on that new bloodline, has gone with an old foe in Roman Reigns to take out that new bloodline that happened at Bad Blood, and Kevin Owens just couldn't understand the decision. He couldn't get his head around the idea that Cody would team with Roman, to the point that, well, when the first match took place as well, because Cody offered KO a match at Bash in Berlin, if we're not mistaken, this is before the Roman stuff took place, KO felt that he wasn't deserving of that championship opportunity at the time, if you remember. There was teasers of he always turns on his friends. He didn't turn on his friend. He could have done the powerbomb on the apron spot, which he didn't do. Ultimately cost him the match. This time around, now he's turned on Cody, and he feels that he's been betrayed and stabbed in the back. And you can argue whether he has or he hasn't, because fanfares will pretty much say whether he has or hasn't in this one. Some people on Cody's side, I think me and you have discussed on the Q&A already, we're a bit on KO's side, if we're being brutally honest. But it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to play out when it comes to this match, obviously, because KO feels he's got something to prove. Cody is still on destination to go into the Netflix era as the top face and top person in the company. The question I have for you is, first off, is the build, and ultimately, I'm going to have a little bit of fantasy booking, if you will, to determine into the result as well. But let's start with the booking. How do you feel the booking of the match has been?
Cody Rhodes is the worst friend in the world. Let's be honest, dude. Like, I am siding with a lot of the heels lately. Everything Kevin Owens says is true. Cody Rhodes is a bad friend. Like, I know Cody likes to see the best in people, but like we said on the Q&A, Kevin Owens has had to deal with the bloodline for 4 years. And mere months after Cody wins that title, I'll team with you, Roman Reigns. We can be best pals. So I can understand Kevin Owens' point of view. And what was the... Yeah, I don't know how Charles... I was going to go on a tangent and then with something else. But yeah, it's... and again, playing on the side of heels, the New Day. They're absolutely right with Big E. Like, everything they said was true. Where's Big E been for 4 years? But anyway, I digress. Dude, I love this storyline. My biggest worry about this is the finish of this match, and not necessarily the outcome, but how you protect the loser in this, because ultimately they're the one that obviously has to walk out this. Like, for instance, if Kevin Owens loses, where does KO go from here? How does he stay relevant in this storyline? Like, do we get, I don't know, maybe a Randy Orton interference or something, and then this pushes for that triple threat that we've talked about on the Q&A between those three guys, maybe at WrestleMania, whatever. That's my biggest worry, is just generally how this match will end. But otherwise, I think it's been great, man. KO is just, he's just been that friend that's been backstabbed by, not necessarily backstabbed, but he's not upset, he's just disappointed in Cody.
Yeah, absolutely. He's very disappointed. He was disappointed in Randy as well, because Randy's sort of been in between the two of them. It's led to Randy being put on the shelf. The power driver seen around the world. That's if you have the right camera angle, it looks quite devastating. It doesn't on every camera angle you've seen, but hey, I don't blame them for not doing the proper power driver, because to be fair, it's caused some problems in the past for superstars. But look, I mean, even Chad Gable said it this past week on SmackDown, said it pretty well. You know, Cody cares what the people thinks, and he will do what he needs to get himself popular with the fans. He's almost the perfect politician in this situation, and he'll even lead him to being a bad friend. Obviously, Cody's turned around and said that pretty much KO's problem is with KO, because he can't get the job done. I'd love to see KO get the job done, though, because in my opinion, and this is where we're going to lead to a different part of the question here, and I might go on a tangent for a couple of minutes, so do apologize for this one.
Let me just butt in 1 second and say, just on what you just said there, you said that KO can't get the job done. Bearing in mind, let's go back to WrestleMania, where we had John Cena, Seth Rollins, and The Undertaker all help Cody Rhodes win that match, and you know what I mean, become WWE Undisputed Champion, but KO can't get it done on his own. Cody Rhodes is a bad friend.
Agreed. Cody Rhodes is a bad friend, and for that reasoning, Kevin Owens should win the Undisputed WWE Championship at Saturday night's main event. There are a number of reasons why KO should win this title. First off, he's bloody awesome. That's just a given. The guy, whether he's a face or whether he's a heel, he's brilliant at what he does. He's entertaining as anything. He makes more things look believable in pro wrestling than many other people. He adds logic to all of his storylines that he's in. How many Kevin Owens storylines do you know where they go, this storyline doesn't make a lot of sense? KO finds a way to make things make sense and make things work. That's usually the way. Have you got one for me? You're going to counter my argument already?
Just the one where he randomly sits in the ring and goes, "I quit."
Yeah, but then he finds his way. He finds his way out of this stuff, though.
I know. Look, dude. I'm gonna be your yang to your yin here, man. I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
I like it.
I agree with you.
I like it though. But Kevin Owens is someone that makes most storylines more believable than anything else. When you look at a Kevin Owens storyline, there is some logic that plays into everything that goes on. And with this storyline is no different with Cody Rhodes. There is a reason you turn around and say, as you can see, Cody Rhodes is a bit of a bad friend. I can understand why KO is hurt of everything that goes on. He is justified after everything that's happened with the bloodline over the last 4 years to turn around and say, Cody, what are you doing teaming with this guy for? I hate this guy. You're meant to be my friend. You're meant to have some loyalty towards me. Cody did not show that. And like I say, whether Kevin Owens is a face or a heel, he makes things believable. Dahl makes it entertaining as well. The interview with Michael Cole this past week on SmackDown, where he chucks him out the car and then calls him back just to put the window up. You can hear the audience laughing. It's brilliant the way that it's all played out and presented. But also, there's another reason why Kevin Owens should win this championship. It's not just to do with Kevin Owens. It's to do with Cody Rhodes. Because Cody Rhodes, in my opinion, is starting to become a John Cena-like in WWE. Cody wins, lol. We need to keep this looking interesting on the road to WrestleMania. Does Cody have to? Yes, I suppose it's going into the Netflix era. Cody is the face of the company. It makes sense. Your biggest star is the champion going in. But wouldn't it be more exciting to see a turn? Because isn't it more exciting? Go back to the Attitude Era. Going back to any era you've watched in wrestling. Isn't it more fun when the top babyface is chasing that title than holding it? It was always more exciting when Steve Austin was chasing that title than holding it, in my opinion. And I think Cody, it would do him a breath of fresh air to be chasing once again. Holding that title since WrestleMania, that was April. We're now in the middle of December. I think to now have KO have a moment where you can turn around and say, you've put in the hard work. KO has not been a world champion since 2017. And when he lost that title, he did the job in a good way as well by losing to Goldberg in a dominant fashion in 21 seconds, something that is still criminal to this day. He has done countless storyline after storyline, heel turn, face turn, more times than the Big Show. He's been drafted to Raw and SmackDown. He has been ever present in WWE and put on solid quality matches, and like I said, with the character work as well. Wouldn't it be great as a reward? And someone that's a Triple H guy as well, who came into NXT and quickly became an NXT champion, was shown that leap of faith one more time from Triple H and said, you know what, the hard work you've done, here's your reward. You're going to win that title at Saturday night's main event. Cody said you couldn't get the job done. Cody actually doesn't get the job done. KO gets the job done. He wins that title. He hasn't got to hold it till WrestleMania, although I think it would be quite exciting. A triple threat match with Randy Orton and Cody in WrestleMania would be fantastic to see. However, you can still go through another Saturday night's main event rumored for January. You can do the rematch there. There's Royal Rumble at the start of February. Boom, you've got your match there. KO versus Cody one more time. Cody can win the belt back then and then go on to WrestleMania. It's a great, exciting way. Your top star in the first month on the Netflix era chases the title, wins it, and then is going into WrestleMania. However, there's also an elimination chamber. There are places that KO can drop the title between now and mid-April. If you're going to make a change and you're going to make something fresh, which is what I'm pretty much proposing as an argument here, a freshness for the championship scene that is needed desperately on SmackDown right now, in my personal opinion, I think it'd be great for Kevin Owens to get his flowers. Is it for long term? No, I'm not saying that KO is going to hold this title for 6 to 12 months, but I think it'd be a great placement to say, great job you've done. You deserve this. I think it adds some more fire to the storyline as well, because Cody needs to reevaluate himself. And I think at this point as well, if Cody wins this match, I think fans are going to start turning on him, because I think fans are starting to get bored of the title reign. And that's something that I think, as your top babyface going into the biggest deal in company history, I think could be very dangerous card to play with the fan base of professional wrestling, especially when millions of new people will probably be checking out this product for the very first time that haven't checked it out previously. For me, Kevin Owens should win the undisputed WWE Championship at Saturday night's main event.
Do you know, there's one other reason as well, right? And that is actually to do with the transfer window and Netflix. Is the fact is that Cody's probably going to switch over to Raw with Kevin Owens. There's probably going to be a rematch. If you're right and they pull the trigger, KO's champion, what's the first thing they're going to do on the opening Monday Night Raw of Netflix? They're going to have a World Heavyweight Championship match, and you have Cody Rhodes win that title back on the first Netflix on Raw on January 6th or whenever it is. And do you know what I mean? You like Netflix on Raw, you guaranteed a few things: a debut, a comeback, a title match, and a title change. Do you know what I mean? And that is where you can do the title change. You reinstate the fact that Cody Rhodes is the biggest star and he wins that title back on that Raw on Netflix. You can then do the triple threat between Randy and KO and Kevin at Royal Rumble or whatever. Like, it also leaves the Royal Rumble more open as to who the winner of that will be going forward towards WrestleMania as well. So, yeah, man, I am totally agreeing with you. Pull the trigger, give KO that championship run. I imagine it's like even if it is for what 3 weeks until the Netflix show, give him a 3-week run. It's not going to harm Kevin. You can book Kevin to lose on Netflix in a way that's not going to damage him, and it just means that he's still certified as a main event star, and at some point in the future will get an opportunity. Hell, you could even have KO win the Rumble and challenge Gunther or so. Do you know what I mean? There are other ways to just like have KO have this short run, then move him back to SmackDown, have him go after Gunther and do it a different way. But I'm the same as you, man. KO should win this match.
KO should win it, but then comes the big question: will he? We flip the coin just for a minute. Netflix era's kicking in. Netflix will want all the big stars. Cody Rhodes is one of them. Probably argument makes sense he retains here. As much as I want to see KO win, I can't help but think Cody's going to retain.
I can see, but then again, like I said, I knew first night on Netflix. I guarantee you, like I said, there are set things that are already in place. You're going to get a debut, so whoever, Ethan Page, whatever, a return, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, someone like that. You're going to get a title match, whether it be the world title, whether it be WWE Championship, whether it be IC, US, whatever. There will be a title match, and there will be a title change. So Cody's either going to lose this match and win it back on Raw, or he's going to be defending it on the first show on Raw on Netflix. So either one's going to happen for me. Do you know what? Because it's what I want, and I said this on the Q&A last night, I want KO to win. Because like you said a minute ago, it's otherwise very predictable and people will start turning on Cody. There are already people online that are saying that Cody's run is boring and there are better champions out there that have had... There's better people out there that have had worse championship runs that have meant more than what Cody's does.
There you are. It's interesting as well. And for me, this time round, if KO was to win, he should pull the trigger and do the powerbomb and apron spot. He didn't do it in Bash.
Definitely.
Could have won the title, didn't because of it. He should then execute something and hurt Cody Rhodes and make a big deal, make the big fuss. This should be almost like, I believe it is the first NXT takeover in 2015. The name escapes me, unfortunately. I want to say Unstoppable is what I want to say, but the show was stopped. It was stoppable. Sami Zayn couldn't continue to the point that KO was crowned the champion of NXT. Something like that would be great to do. The fact that Cody can't continue rather than the fact that he's just pinned to the mat. I think that would be a very controversial finish, a very good way to execute it. And I think then that way that also adds the further grounds for the rematch because Cody wasn't in a position to continue the fight. Therefore, he will probably say, well, actually, you didn't pin me, you didn't submit me, but yeah, you TKO'd him, so you have beat him. But I think it just gives Cody those grounds to say, I'm going to get this title back and we're going to do it straight on the start and opening debut show of Netflix.
I mean, like the only other thing I can think is if you go along the lines of that KO injures Cody and he's out, you could possibly do KO versus Randy on the first night of Raw. Because then what ultimately you can do, first time ever, back to back to back Royal Rumble winner. Cody wins the Royal Rumble for a third time, faces KO at Mania, and involve Randy in it however you want. Because again, he's all about breaking these records. Austin obviously has 3 wins in the Rumble. He has 2 back-to-back, if I remember correctly.
He won in 97, 98, and 2001.
So 97 and 98 are back-to-back. So how do you break that record? You have someone like a Cody Rhodes that goes back to back to back, 23, 24, 25 Royal Rumble winner, and then goes on to the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania, because it's even though it's the 41st, it's still the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania. And yeah, he goes on to re-win that title at WrestleMania and still is that big name star.
Absolutely, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how it's going to play out. For me, I think it's a dangerous card to play. I think people would get sick of Cody if he won the Rumble again. I personally don't want to see it, but at the same time, as for breaking records, yeah, if you're going to do it, you can't have him do it again and win 5 Rumbles in total. So it would be the year to do it. However, it's going to be interesting to see how it'll play out. But I really hope KO does it. I really do.
I hope.
I can't predict it. I just can't do it. Cody's going to be my pick. Your final prediction then is KO.
Yeah, you're so boring. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Do you know what? I'm gonna go with KO just because, obviously we've pretty much predicted the rest of the show. All we have, everything else is the same, and it's what I want. I want KO to be champion, man. I think the guys deserved it, like you said. You've made the argument for KO. I can't really add much more to it.
The argument's there. I just, for me, the power of Netflix and Cody being the face of the company, I just can't see him changing it. But I like the idea of him winning the title back on that opening show. Or alternatively, you have the title match in the opening show, KO gets DQ'd or some way to get away with it, then you drag it to the Rumble. And then that's the place then you make the switch. That would be the alternative that I would suggest. But all in all, I think that there is most hype and excitement for this match on the show by our discussion here, and there's certainly a lot of passion going into this match. We're desperate for KO to win, but are you desperate for KO to win? Let us know in the comments below right now. It's time to get your predictions in. Who do you think is walking away from Saturday night's main event as the victor? And I've got to say, just didn't give this at the start of the show. This is taking place in the Nassau Coliseum, rich of history with WWE from years past. So I'm really excited to see that they're going back there for a show there, especially for Saturday night's main event. Just feels nostalgic, and for me, I'm very nostalgic, so that's perfect in fitting for me. Is there anything you want to add, NXT, on any topic with Saturday night's main event before we close off the show?
No, dude, man. Like I said, it's going to be it's pay-per-view timing, man. It's always just that time to be excited for it. But there is if it's done right, this could be one of the best shows of the year, depending on how they book it. It's just hopefully you're waiting for someone to pull the trigger, and whether they pull that trigger or not is the ultimate question.
It is the ultimate question. You are so right indeed. Apologies there for jumping in, but yeah, literally Saturday night's all right for fighting. It's great to see that main event is back. Let's see how it's going to play out. But as I say, let us know your predictions in the comments below. Later this week, there'll be an SCW Rewind dropping as well. Saturday night's main event based as well. It'll be the last Saturday night's main event of the Golden Era, which, of course, a little bit of nostalgic purposes for me, was the first one I ever watched as well. But in the meantime, if you want to see more on the channel, and we've mentioned about a Q&A that took place yesterday. If you haven't seen it yet, then check out the bottom of the screen right now. Thank you all for watching. Look after yourselves and each other. Enjoy Saturday night's main event, and we'll try to be back later in the week with a review. Take care. All the best. We'll see you for the next one.